welcome to the Power Gamer Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Dawson, joined as always by a very energetic and well-rested Johnny Paulus. Johnny.
Yo!
Welcome in, sir.
What's going on?
I mean, besides computer fuckery, that's been a lot of it lately, is trying to, as I'm trying to silence my phone here, speaking of computer fuckery, is trying to figure out how to make my ancient i5 processor play nice with modern hardware. And the inevitable solution that I've come up with is that perhaps I just need to stop being a cheap bastard and upgrade my machine, which used to be your machine.
Yeah.
And it's been around the block for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the rig that I sold you was
Traded.
Was
This is a point of contention with me and my wife, because she says, "You've bought that RTX 2080 card twice." I'm like, no, I haven't bought it twice. I traded it once.
That's right.
And got an entire computer.
Yeah.
And then I bought it for like a third of what it's worth.
Yeah.
Because it's used now.
Yeah.
And so it's come back into my possession. But trying to get an RTX 2080 to work with a 4th gen fucking i5.
Well, no, so that's what I was going to say, is that
bad news.
That rig was the longest running rig I've ever had in my PC gaming run. Like it was a hog. It ate up everything I gave it. Every time because especially PC gamers will remember, like in like the second gen, third gen, fourth gen era of Intel's, every time a new one would come out, you'd be like, oh my God, it's 30% faster. I got to have this. But then when the Gen 5 came out, it was like 3% faster. And then the 6 came out and it was like 5% fat. And like, I just sat on my 4 because it just kept on cranking. It kept on chugging. I kept gaming with it. I kept not needing to upgrade it. Yeah. So it was finally when the Ryzen's finally took the lead, I was like, man, I haven't had an AMD rig in a while. But yeah, so what's funny is while you're having issues with your PC and you're ranting in my Twitch chat of, see, this is why I don't like PC gaming, because consoles, it just works. I sat down today, I got home from work, and the wife and kids went to Taekwondo, so I have an hour to myself. Let's game on the couch. Let's do this. So I pick up the Xbox controller, and I go to install Power Wash Simulator, and I hit the install button, and it makes a beep sound, and then nothing happens. And I go to the install queue, and there's nothing there. It's not installing. So I go back to Power Wash Simulator. I do it again. Install game. It makes the sound. Go back to the thing. Nothing's downloading. I'm like, the fuck? So I go into the settings, and then it goes, hey, do you want to update your Xbox? So, okay, maybe that's why it's not installing. Maybe it needs to update. Sure. Let's update the Xbox. So I sit there for 5 minutes. It updates the Xbox. It restarts. And immediately there's a download screen of the official Xbox things that it needs to download. It needs to download Events Beta, some rewards program, some other. It's all Microsoft programs.
TLDR, you haven't turned this thing on in like 3 months.
No, that's not true. The kids play it on it fairly regularly, like every weekend. Okay. I haven't touched it in a little while, but no, the kids play it all the time. Anyway, it says for the first download, queued 0%. It will not download. The number never goes up. It never moves on to another one. I try pause all downloads, resume all downloads. Doesn't go. I start Googling and YouTubing, and I sat there for an entire hour just trying to get my Xbox to download a game, and I failed. I just gave up and said, fuck it. It's stuck. I guarantee if I turn the Xbox on right now, it's going to say, oh, there's these 5 things I got to download, and it's stuck at 0%. And I don't know why. If you know the answer, put it in the YouTube comments, please. Quite frustrating.
Oh, I can think of some answers there, but this probably isn't the time or place to troubleshoot.
No,
your Xbox.
No, I just found
it's happening from outside your console. What's causing the problem? Because consoles, just as the point that you're trying to counter is, they just inherently work. Microsoft didn't sit down this morning and go, you know what? every other person who bought an Xbox is going to get this version of the software, but Johnny Paulus, that motherfucker, he's going to get this version that's designed to fuck with him. That doesn't happen. And
right, but when I Google,
because
the issue that I'm having, there's YouTube videos and forum posts, and tons of people are having this problem.
Weird.
And there's no like easy, simple. Everybody's like, I don't know, try this. I tried that, nothing. All right, try this, tried that, nothing. Can't get it to download. And I test network connection. It's fine. It's got no problem.
This is a real known issue with Xboxes, then, isn't it?
I found multiple posts and multiple YouTube videos talking about the exact problem that I'm having. And again,
that is interesting. Maybe you and I need to look into this further.
It's a weird one, man.
See, well, the usual correlations with consoles that you want to look at where there's these kinds of problems, is what batch of consoles is it that's having the issue? Are they all related, or are they not related? Usually they're related,
right?
Because there was something like that with the first run of PS5s, like that first wave. There was something fucked up with them, and a lot of them had to go back and get worked on. So, that's something you and I should take a look at this week.
It's a weird one. It's a weird one. And,
mine's not so weird. Mine's just pure idiocy with the computer. You can't fit a square peg into a round hole, sort of thing, is what we were doing, or square peg, round hole. That's
here's a better analogy. You put a V12 into a Kia and went, why isn't it hitting the turns right?
Yes, with its stock transmission, you're going, why
exactly.
can't the power get to the wheels?
Exactly.
It's just not happening.
Yeah.
So well, that's fun. We're both having fun with technology this week.
You're going, damn you PC gaming, and I'm going, damn you console gaming.
Well, mine was more just something that I've been putting off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The thing works. It just doesn't work to the standard of I have this thing that fucking kicks ass. It should have no problems.
Yeah.
Because it's the V12 that is awesome in a Kia. So good analogy, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to episode 76 of the Power Gamer Podcast. We're going to begin this week's episode, as we always do, by first discussing what we've been playing this week. But before we get to that, if you're joining us on YouTube, welcome in. Please like and subscribe to our channel, you freeloading fuck. That's right.
That's right. You tell them.
I said it.
Yeah, you get
I said it. That's right.
We're looking at you. You hit the bell thing or whatever people say on YouTube. That's what you gotta do.
As of right now, you're such an early viewer or listener. You are getting this for absolutely nothing. So, if in the kindness of your heart, if you could do just that little tiny thing for us, we would greatly appreciate it. Of course, you can also find our show any place where you listen to podcasts. That's how this whole thing began, and many of you still do continue to listen to us on those platforms, and for which we appreciate it greatly. If you think to leave us a nice review on whatever platform you're listening to us on, it does help us tremendously. So, segueing in, it is time to discuss what we've been playing this week. It looks like in usual form, I've got a slightly longer list here. I'll bang through these real quick. Okay. No Man's Sky, big update came out this week. The Endurance update. For those who are interested in No Man's Sky, basically it adds Star Trek to No Man's Sky, where your capital ship becomes this huge, badass, fucking awesome thing. The freighter, so to speak. Where you can house your ships, you have grow operations, and it's just added a lot to the game, which has already had a lot added to it. And it just continues to get better and better until you try and play it on an i5 with an RTX 2080, in which case you go, maybe I should have updated this CPU at some point.
And the
good news is my laptop,
the GPU sitting at 30. Sorry, the GPU is sitting at 30, and your CPU is at 100%. Just going, please.
My GPU is at 3% the whole time. It never rose above 3%.
Oh my god! That video card's going like, come on, let's go. I want
it's
a
just
game,
waiting
dude.
for that info. But fortunately, I also have a really nice laptop, which has a 9th gen i5 in it and an RTX 2060. And that kicks the shit out of No Man's Sky. So I was able to enjoy myself playing it there. Just sort of getting my feet wet. I've not really played the game very much.
Yeah.
But I've been watching people play it more and more and getting more interested in playing it. So now I'm playing it. So No Man's Sky. Next up is Dying Light 2, which is for those watching, what's happening behind me on my screen there. I'll be going back to that after the podcast night. I fucking loved this game. So I really liked the first Dying Light a lot. Had some gripes with it, particularly the quick time event in boss, which was horrible. But Dying Light 2, again, is graphically just stupendous. The movement's great. The combat is silly easy, but maybe it's just because I'm a veteran of the first game that I find it simple. And it's really, really good. So I think it's on sale right now, too, for like $25. So it's that low somewhere. I think it might be one of Johnny's favorite places, Gamefly, selling it for that cheap. So you can scoop Dying Light 2 for dirt cheap. It's a really, really great game that came out this year. And we'll definitely be talking about it come this winter when we have to talk about the best games of this year. I can sense it's going to be in that conversation.
Cool.
Next up, Power Wash Simulator, the game breaking the brains of every ADD human being on the planet Earth right now. I have sunk 16 hours into that game this week.
Damn.
I'm almost done with it. I broke 150 stars. And I have all the nicest equipment and things. My wife's been playing Power Wash Simulator. She's actually upstairs playing it right now. So every time I've literally had to take my Xbox Series X off my gaming rack and put it upstairs so she can sit and play this. Because she saw me playing it on PC and she's like, "Oh, that looks like my kind of shit." And I'm like, "You can play it on Game Pass on my thing." And I kind of figured she'd play it for like an hour, and then like having to deal with the first person on the controller thing, just be like, "Okay, fuck this." But quite the opposite. It's actually teaching her finally with something that interests her to navigate first person controls on a console. So I can't get her away from it. So she's playing it as well. Probably has as much time as I do, but it takes a lot less time to play the game with a mouse. If you have a choice where you play it, it obviously doesn't take much to run Power Wash Simulator. But please, for the love of fucking God, don't play it on a console. I can't imagine waving your thumb back and forth for hours and hours and hours. Just use a goddamn mouse. Next up, I had mentioned last week a tennis game called Match Point. And there's more tennis games. So Tennis World Tour 2, which I figured would be a really good tennis game because it has Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal on the front cover. I'm like, oh, sweet, actual tennis players. Johnny, who are these tennis players?
Really famous ones. They're really good guys. They're awesome.
Two of the most successful tennis players of, I'd say, the big three of all time.
I recognize the name Federer. I've heard that name before.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
I understood that reference.
Okay. So just quick, I'm not going to talk about tennis games a lot here. But if I had to say, should you play Match Point or should you play Tennis World Tour 2? Tennis World Tour 2 is a big, hot, steaming pile of dog shit.
Huh.
It's awful. It's terrible.
So not that one.
It's really the fuck bad. And don't play that one. Play Match Point. There's like one other tennis game that I'll get to maybe for next week. But don't waste your time with Tennis World Tour 2.
Dude, you immediately made me want to create a graphic with the cover for Tennis World Tour 2 and then put the text, "It's really the fuck that bad." Mike Dawson, Power Gamer Podcast.
Playing Tennis World Tour 2 is like swatting an errant tennis ball away from your face. Except instead of it being a tennis ball, it's a hot, steamy shit. So you just hit it with the racket and through it comes.
Nice.
And that is how playing this game makes me feel. It's terrible. Mechanically, it's terrible. It's just awful. It has a card system in it. And like, you know, like FIFA and like all that does like the Dream Team and all that shit. This game, the second you open it up, it goes, "Oh, welcome to Tennis World Tour 2. Let me show you the card system." And the fucking card system isn't just for like Dream Team or whatever. It's like part of the game.
Oh my God.
Part of the single player game. And it's like, buy some packs. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh.
I just wanted to play a round of tennis. So far the best tennis game this year is still Switch Sports, but all right. That brings me to my last game, but I'm going to pause on that.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you to pause on that one too, because it's something we both played.
Yep.
So let me turn it over to you, and then we'll come back with a little discussion about a game that both of us played this week.
Yep, absolutely. Still working on Red Dead Redemption 2, making some more good progress. No major revelations this week. We appear to be setting ourselves up for a toe-to-toe battle against the U.S. Army, which is probably not going to go well. I got a feeling probably not a good idea that that's what we're going to do.
Never going to take me alive.
But I'm getting there. I'm still working through the game. I'm also really happy to report. I was sitting there. I fired it up twice now in the last week. Returnal's free DLC, the Tower of Sisyphus, that came out a while ago. I had not touched it. Fired it up. I honestly, I was expecting this DLC to be similar to the challenge rooms, because in Returnal, you have the little computer where you can check how many runs you've done, how many enemies you've killed, how many successful runs you've done, like what's your best whatever combo. And then there's an option to do like try the weekly challenge run and see how far you can get. I, for some reason, was under the impression that this DLC was just going to be another box there. I thought it would be like you open up and nothing's really changed with the game, and you go over to the thing and you go, all right, I want to do this thing. And I just thought it was going to be challenge room, challenge room, challenge room, challenge room. In a way, it kind of is that, but kind of not. In the main area where you start, there's always that door right straight ahead. And there was always a door off to the right that was like sealed and didn't do anything. Now that door is opened. And when you go in there, there is this gigantic tower that you cannot see the top of it. And the way that it works, you level up your weapon proficiency much faster in the Tower of Sisyphus. And this is my favorite thing about the expansion is within 10 minutes of a run, you're at like weapon proficiency 10 or 12, and you're getting guns that just absolutely shred shit. So like you feel unstoppable really, really quickly in this mode. So for somebody who has beat Returnal, has gotten pretty comfortable with the regular setup of the regular game, this is a perfect stair step up without being like oppressively difficult. It's still hard. It's Returnal. It is still hard, but I enjoy it a lot. It really is like, so you get on the platform, you go up to the next level. There's a bunch of baddies. You kill them. You go up to the next level. And you just keep doing this. And every 20 levels, there's a boss fight. I do not know how far this goes. I don't know if there's 100 levels, 200 levels, or if it's truly unlimited. I have no idea. But what I do know is that they put little story tidbits in there that I'm enjoying. Little things to sort of expand the story a little bit. She has some more dialogue of like what's going on. So it's a pretty well realized like free expansion to the game. So anybody that has Returnal kind of sitting on the shelf and hasn't touched it, similar to like what I was doing, fire it up, especially now that it's on Game Pass, or not Game Pass. God, we're always going to fall for that. PlayStation Plus. Now that it's on PlayStation Plus, I mean, fire it up. The expansion's very fun. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. And lastly, Mike and I rolled credits on the same game this week.
Because it's very short.
It's very short. It is unfortunately short.
The game is the new release, Stray. So Stray is an interesting talking point, and it's something we're going to be talking about probably for the rest of the year. Because sort of prior to its release, the hype train around Stray got dangerously hyped, if you will. And I was kind of having to swat away a whole bunch of people. I mean, even in my personal circle of peers, telling them to calm the fuck down. But it seemed like everybody was trying to crown this game as like the obvious game of the year before they ever touched it, before they ever played it, before it ever came out, etc.
Yeah.
So, it's really, really good.
It is.
I loved playing Stray. I loved the gameplay mechanics of it. But Stray never really found its stride, so to speak, because it never did anything long enough. And then the game itself, I thought, was too short.
Yeah.
I guess here's a particular example. And this is a mild spoiler, but mind you, so is us saying it's short. So if you really don't want to know anything about Stray, maybe skip forward slightly. But the game itself, I mean, it even has an achievement for beating it under 2 hours, to kind of give you an idea. I thought one of the things that was really cool in it is you get a weapon at one point, which is great. But it feels like I only got to use the thing for like 20 minutes before it was gone, and I never had it again.
Yeah, like overheated or whatever, and then it was just done.
Yeah, and that sort of, in a nutshell, is how I felt about Stray. Is like every time they introduce something, it was like, oh wow, that's cool, and then like an instant later, it's just like, yep, you're done with that. But story-wise, I thought it had a really great and touching story, albeit short.
Yeah.
It was sort of like this. Do you remember the old movie Homeward Bound with the dogs?
Of course.
Yeah, it was like sci-fi Homeward Bound with a cat. If that makes sense.
Right,
But
so
that's sort of my general feelings of the game. Johnny, what were yours?
similar. I really enjoyed my time with it. I thought the universe was really cool. I dug the story and I loved the mystery. I'm intentionally not going to spoil any of that because I think that anybody who wants to play this game should enjoy it. The reveal of what's going on in this world, they do take a little bit to get there. But Mike's right. My biggest gripe with this game is that you get to a new area and then now there's almost like stealth portions of the game and you're like, oh shit, this is cool. We weren't doing this before. But then when that's done, that's done. And they could have very easily added another 5-6 hours to this game, flesh the story out a little bit more, and start mixing those elements. Like, have a room where you're using that gun and you're surrounded by all these bad guys. And then the next room, you're back to stealth. And then in the next room, it's a puzzle of figuring out how to traverse through the room. And this is, you know what this reminded me of, although this was much, much better, is the Gunk. The Gunk was all right. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I liked the story. I liked the setup and all. But it felt like the budget ran out.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt like they went, well, we tried. We got to wrap it up. So how are we going to finish the game? Oh, we're going to finish it there? Okay. So let's see. This happens, and then that's it. We roll credits. Okay, cool. Let's wrap it up. And that's kind of what it felt like. It felt like they ran out of money. So to the developers of Stray, please make a sequel and make it 15 hours, make it 20 hours. Continue this world, build upon this experience, because the biggest thing that they nailed is, the whole time I'm playing it, the thought I kept having to myself is like, it's rare to get something that's completely fresh, completely new. we've never played a game like this where you feel like a cat and you're forced to think like a cat.
Yeah,
You know,
it's great.
there's multiple times when you're like, well, shit, the door's locked. And then you go, oh, wait, I'm a cat. I can jump there, and then I can jump there. And okay, of course, I can go over. But just even beyond that part of it, there are spots where you can scratch your nails. There are spots where you can knock bottles off of a table. There are spots where you can jump in a box. You do cat shit. And that's awesome. It's really fun and it's really charming. And especially anyone who's a cat person, like, you must play this game. If you're a big cat person, if you love kitty cats as much as I do, I have 3. I am a cat person through and through. Dogs are cool. I'll pet your dog. I'm down with dogs. I don't want a dog. I'm down with the cats. But I loved it, but I wanted more. It did feel like when the credits rolled on Fellowship of the Ring and you went, oh, that's it? Now I gotta wait for more. That's how I felt.
It was super short. I mean, I think my total playtime on it was 3 hours and change. I mean, short. And it's sort of like I understand what you mean by please make a sequel, but I feel like they covered the whole thing and just did it too short. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't want to dig into the plot points, but we still have no idea if there are humans anywhere. Are they all dead? We don't know.
Well, yeah,
but I mean, an entire world occupied with robots? We don't know.
They could have made this a nice, like, 10, 12-hour thing with more levels and more stuff to do and more story. Yep. And you know, kind of make you feel like it's, I don't know, a bit more thought out, a bit more of an... It's so rare for me to complain that a game's too short.
Yeah.
And, like, it feels really weird to bitch about that because, like, 9 times out of 10 I'm going, oh, this game is 20 hours too long. Yeah.
Well, no, like, you're the king of, dude, this game is 6 hours. It's perfect. 10 out of 10. Loved it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this game is too short for me. And that's like, I got done with it. I'm like, really? That's where we're stopping this? What? So, I don't know. I think that everybody who worked on the game in terms of the mechanics and the design, and all that stuff and the lore and like the world that they created did a great job. But then whoever was responsible for pacing the game and like deciding how big certain areas were going to be and things like that, you know, probably needed to do more. And I can't imagine that everyone within this team walked away from that game going, we knocked it out of the fucking park, because if Mr. I like short games is saying this game is too short, certainly somebody somebody on that project probably feels the same way. Now, the saving grace to it is it's a $30 game.
Right. But that's the thing, is that these things happen. You run out of money. Your team's too small. I mean, when the credits rolled, this is one of those games similar to Tunic where it's like really only a handful of people made this game. And that's true. I'm sure they made a lot of money, and I hope that they use that money.
They made a shit ton, because what did they do? They gave the rights to Sony. You know, when a game gets put up, quote unquote, for free, it means they're being handed a big fat fucking check up front. So it makes total sense that Stray was handled that way by Sony, that they have the exclusive hold on it on consoles. You know, it's not available on Xbox.
Right.
And then B, that it was part of, I mean, I know Sony made out like a fucking bandit from this, because I signed up for the PlayStation Plus extra tier.
Yep.
Just for this game, because I'm like, well, they're saying it's $30, and then I have extra for the whole year basically to upgrade my thing. I was like, and this game costs $30. Like, and there's like 10 games in here I want to play. So I'm like, no brainer. I'll do this. And then, you know, if I want a physical copy of Stray, I know PlayAsia is doing one, and I am 8-Bit's doing one. So,
well, I
we
mean,
can always get a physical
I
copy.
bought it on Steam, so they got my money, and I'm sure if I pulled up the Steam bestseller list for at the end of the week, Stray's going to be on there. It's going to
It's
be in the
number
top
one,
10.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say they made a lot of money, and all I'm saying is that they have something really cool and really unique, and I would happily play a sequel to this game. Just
Yeah.
make it not 3 hours.
Yeah, I want more cats. I want to play as
Me too.
cats.
The cat stuff is so fun, man.
Well, and like the
but
little robot you have with you is
Yeah.
so key.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so Stray, if I have to like kind of give it a gut score, it's like a 7-8. You know what I mean? It's really really good. It's not perfect, but it's really good. And then just the overall shortness of it sort of really really hampers the overall experience. I thought you especially feel that when you get to what we would call the end, the final level, which is like this isn't spoilery, I hope. It's basically the whole level. You're just in one room. You kick open a couple computers and then it's over.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God damn. So it definitely felt too short. I didn't feel like everything was properly resolved once I got to the end. So I don't know. For me, gut score, this isn't like any science or anything, but like if I took a bite out of it, you know, like we're doing the one bite pizza review, like Barstool Sports. If I took one bite of this game and said, how does it taste? I'm like, it's a 7-8.
Yeah.
So it's really good for what it is. A $30 game that's only, 3-4 hours long, and it's a 7-8. I mean, that's a game that's a must play. It's a game that'll be in the conversation for, the games we talk about at the end of this year.
Yeah, I think
it's so unique.
I think it's going to shoo its way in easily to the top 10 for 2022.
I could see some publications like at this point,
right,
thinking about where this game falls. But is it a game of the year in the same year that Elden Ring came out, in the same year that Horizon Forbidden West came out,
and we still have Ragnarok.
You got a God of War game coming out.
Yeah, no,
that's a tall order, So. I mean, fucking Power Wash Simulator came out. So. Hey, yeah, that's.
No, I seriously, if you've looked at this game and you're wondering if you want to play it,
it's must play.
Our main disclaimer is that it's short, and if you're okay with that,
it's a must play game. It's 7-8, and it's must play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. But I mean, well, I was just going to give the disclaimer because y'all know I'm the cheap ass gamer that'll wait until it goes on sale. This game will easily be $15 by the holidays on like Steam and online stores and stuff. So if you don't want to pay $30 on a 3-hour game, probably hang in there for 6 months.
Or if you have a PlayStation, just bump up your sub if you haven't already, and just download it.
Absolutely,
that's what I did, and it's. I mean, it's flawless on the PlayStation. I think my PS5 running it. I mean, now granted, this is sitting in front of me, not experiencing it through a stream, but
yeah,
I'd be hard pressed to say it looks any worse than Johnny's PC running the game.
I've ran it on both, and my only gripe with the PS5, I felt like the depth of field effect was a little too cranked for my liking, and I couldn't go into the settings and turn that down. So it's just things that were out of focus were like way the fuck out of focus. It's just a little too strong. But other than that, I agree. It ran like a dream, looks amazing. It's a super pretty game, man. I mean, it's very well designed.
Yeah, I love it. Definitely one of my favorite games I've played this year. So that wraps up what we've been playing this week. Now it's time to talk about Ubisoft, or UB going soft.
Oh, got him.
That I had to sit and think of that. Okay, UB going soft. So it's time to talk about what Ubisoft has been up to this week.
That was the longest drum roll in the entire history of punchlines ever. Somebody says a punchline, the drummer goes for like 10 seconds. There's what you need. Thank you.
You do what you got to do.
That's the winner.
So Ubisoft, Ubisoft is in the news for the wrong reasons. But this does happen from time to time. What's interesting here is Ubisoft has had some delays and cancellations, but they've had a lot of them announced all at once. And they did this via their shareholders meeting. So people are freaking out going, how the fuck are you guys making money now? So let's talk about what's happened. And let's talk about the games that are involved in this. So the first one I want to bring up is just a delay. So we've been talking about Avatar Frontiers of Pandora a little bit this year. We saw some trailers of it earlier in the year. And it's a very good looking game. Now, Ubisoft, of course, are pretty good when it comes to what this game is, which is a first person open world game that takes place in the world of Avatar. So, Frontiers of Pandora, which was in development for Xbox, Series X and S, PS5, PC, and Stadia, and Luna. Being made by Massive Entertainment, who are also responsible for the Division games.
Yep.
Which I think is interesting. We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Was originally slated for release this year. It's been pushed back sometime into 2023. So first, I guess the big comparable for this, especially if you're someone who hasn't watched the trailers surrounding this game, is it very much looks like Far Cry goes Avatar, if I have to describe it any kind of way. So game's been delayed to 2023. I know the new Avatar movie is due out this December at some point. Johnny, I think that's correct. Sometime this holiday, either Christmas or like the week before. The Way of Water. So I wasn't sure if the delay had something to do with that initially, but then reading into their statements, Ubisoft says that the additional development time is a reflection of the current ongoing constraints on productions across the industry. Basically, they go on to say, too, that they had another game that they're working on that is currently unannounced. So all these things lined up with when this movie's coming out, and they've basically decided to push it back. Yeah. Johnny, any thoughts on this? Any ideas or takes or any insight into what Ubisoft is actually putting out this year? I mean, I guess we talked about Skull and Bones, which is coming out in November. Do you think maybe that has something to do in the piece of the pie as well, where they're not trying to cannibalize another one of their releases by releasing shit on top of each other? I mean, we're kind of in that final bit of the year for things to be announced that are actually coming out. So maybe that has something to do with that. Any takes from you, sir, here on Frontiers of Pandora?
If I were at Ubisoft, I would have absolutely zero interest in releasing this game before the movie comes out, or even around the time of when this movie comes out. I think you let the movie come out. Here's the thing. I know. I read on the internet. I see people on Twitter. Y'all are counting out this Avatar movie. Y'all are counting out James Cameron. You forget what James Cameron fucking does. James Cameron sells goddamn movie tickets. So this movie's going to come out, and it's going to blow our fucking minds. And it's going to make $1.5 billion, and it's going to be the biggest thing of the year, and it's going to blow everybody's minds. So you're going to get a whole new generation of kids and young teens and shit that are going to be like, wow, this Avatar thing is cool. And then boom, here's a game where you go, hey, it's Far Cry in Avatar. Done. Give me Pandora. Give me that world. And if you haven't seen this trailer, one of the things that I'm most excited about this game, it is not coming out for PS4 and it is not coming out for Xbox One. This is a true next-gen title.
It looks amazing. I mean,
this is Series X and PS5 and PC only. I'm not even going to include the streaming shit. Yes, it's on Stadia. Who cares? The game looks great, and games that look great sometimes get delayed so that they can be perfect. So maybe that's why it's delayed, or maybe it's just delayed because they went, why would we not wait? If we can make the game better with a little bit more time, and we can wait till this movie comes out, sets the world on fire, and stays in theaters for 2 months, because that's another thing James Cameron does.
Yep. I think also maybe some of the youngins don't know who James Cameron is.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, he did the first Avatar movie. And for those not in the know, he's got this one coming out this year, but he's already been contracted to make a third.
And a fourth.
And a fourth? I didn't even know about the fourth one.
Yeah, no, he said I think he's got 5 planned, but I don't think he's on contracted for all 5.
But this is the man that's made 3 of my all-time favorite movies. And Johnny, of course.
Aliens. Aliens, I know, is one of them.
Mm-hmm. And the Terminator movies.
Of course.
Terminator 1
T2.
and 2.
Yeah, T2 is one of the greatest action films of all time.
Everyone loves Titanic.
Everyone loves Titanic. Don't forget The Abyss.
Yep. True Lies.
True Lies. Yeah, another classic action film. No, that's the thing. James Cameron is like Christopher Walken in the SNL skits, okay? He puts his pants on in the morning just like everybody else, except when he does it, he makes gold records, okay? This is what James Cameron does. He doesn't release flops. He doesn't do it, folks. I've seen people count him out time and time again, and they're always wrong.
Every time.
Every fucking time. So I just gave up on trying to count him out. I don't give a shit. This movie's going to be sick. I'm going to go see it the week it comes out, and it's probably going to blow my mind.
Yeah, and it's James Cameron, so.
James Cameron don't play. Also, I do want to give a tiny shout out to Massive Games. While you were talking about them, I wanted to Google and see what else they'd worked on, and I was like, I don't think they've done a first-person shooter. They were one of the collaborative teams on Far Cry 3. So they were not the primary developer. Primary developer was Ubisoft Montreal. But Massive Entertainment is the top listed collaborative studio that helped get that game complete. I don't know how much contribution they had there, but that team has done a little bit of first person at least. But no, I'm pumped on this game. The trailer looks amazing. I'm not reading too much into the fact that it's delayed. I think it makes financial sense to wait till the movie sets the world on fire before you release the game.
Yep. So that's part 1. So kind of a blow.
Yeah.
Now the next 2 titles are cancellations, and they're fairly significant ones. I think we had talked about at some point earlier this year, late last year, the announcement of a Splinter Cell VR game being in development. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is now dead. Dead and gone. Also, there was a trailer that met a lot of negative feedback. Ghost Recon Frontlines, which is basically like the Call of Duty battle royale, whatever.
Yeah.
That too now is also dead. And then 2 games that we've never even heard of, apparently were also cut. So I want to talk a little bit about all of this. So first up, Splinter Cell. Man, have we been starved for a proper Splinter Cell game for too long. Blacklist was the last one. That was released back on the 360. And the time is right for a game like Splinter Cell to make an actual comeback.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, instead of with all the teasing of Sam Fisher and the different Ubisoft properties, and everyone's getting hyped, and then the Netflix Splinter Cell show or whatever, everyone's getting more hyped, and then they come out and say, yeah, we got a VR game for you. So the world's not yet to the point where when you say we've got a VR game that we lose our minds. It's not there yet. I imagine sometime in the next 5-10 years, okay, maybe that's possible, but we're certainly not there yet, where that's where people want their storied franchises making comebacks after a 9-year hiatus. It's just not how people want it.
Yeah.
So I'm not terribly surprised that this didn't make it. However, with the upcoming release of PlayStation's PSVR 2, it is very important for companies to capitalize on the VR market space. So I'm not really sure what the point was of killing this game, unless.
Well, I think Meta was tied to this.
Perhaps so, but I mean,
I think Meta was tied to it.
Developing a VR game, I don't buy this whole thing of my VR game made for this can't be adapted to the X, it can't be adapted to Y or whatever.
I don't disagree.
I don't buy that. I don't think it's terribly different than anything else. So, with PSVR 2, kind of when it comes out, it's going to be the biggest dick on the block in terms of what that headset can do. I think publishers are looking to that already. There's a lot in development for that system. Certainly VR is more and more popular now with, like you were saying, with Meta, with Oculus and all these things. So I'm not really sure where cutting it comes from, if not just some resource management or whatever they have internally. But what I do find disappointing about it is that they go through all this time and put all this energy into hyping up a new Splinter Cell game, a beloved franchise that people are very hungry for a new entry in, and then it just gets whacked, and there's nothing now at all to fill that void. So
I thought there was a remake still happening.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously no true sequel, but I heard there was a
it's a remake of the first game.
Right.
Great.
Yeah.
It's great. I have that. I've literally got that within arm's reach. Not the remake, but the original, and you can play it. And even as recently as there was like a PS3 remaster or whatever of the whole trilogy that you could get like on a single disc. And that's been around for a while. So it's another one of these things where, like, I'm sure it's going to look a billion times better, sort of like Last of Us Part 1 to Last of Us on PS. Like, I'm sure it'll look a billion times better. However, these guys are just due for something else in this space. I mean, we're on Far Cry, fucking 6? We're on Assassin's Creed, fucking 200? It's time for a Splinter Cell game. I mean, we keep having Ghost Recon things come out. I mean, basically every series that Ubisoft does has just gone on like business as usual.
Yeah.
Except fucking Splinter Cell. So
yeah, I don't get it either.
It's weird, but anything to add there on Splinter Cell, Johnny?
Well, I mean, I wasn't surprised at all to hear that Ghost Recon Frontline got shelved. I mean, that shit was dead on arrival. We've talked 100 times about how the negative hype train, sometimes once it gets rolling, it's over. The internet has already decided that we hate a thing before it even exists. That was certainly the case with this game. It had infinitely more dislikes than likes, and it actually, when I pulled up the YouTube video trailer for it, the first comment on the post was, "Is this a joke?" And that had more that had more thumbs up than the video did. Was the comment saying, "Is this a joke?"
Well,
so,
and what's I'm going to tie on your point.
Sure.
And I think Ubisoft they need a consultant, Johnny. Okay, if you're available for a consultant position
Yep.
Ubisoft, maybe they should hire you real quick, because I think
$100K a year. I'm all yours.
per
100K a year.
per
I'm all
project.
yours.
Don't sell yourself short. These guys got big money. 100K a project.
Okay.
The misstep that they keep making is just to naming. Let me explain. Ghost Recon is a very, very sacred name in the gaming space. And it got away from that a little bit after Wildlands.
Yep.
As it started to turn into like this weird games as a service thing. But if we go back to the Advanced Warfighter games, if we go back like on the PS2 and on the PC, these were hardcore tactical games. And that's what Ghost Recon is known for. Now, Wildlands was a deviation from that. Fine. But the core base to when somebody sees the Ghost Recon name is, Tom Clancy has been associated with that. When people see Tom Clancy, when people see Ghost Recon, they want a serious fucking game. They don't want miniguns dropping out of the sky.
Yeah, they don't want Ubisoft's version of Call of Duty. It doesn't work like that.
Right. So the main
That's
problem,
not what it is.
The main, and what was that other? I can't even remember the name of it. It's like X Alliance or something like that, where they wound up actually going back. It's this other battle royale that Ubisoft is working on that looks really fucking dumb. But it started out with the Tom Clancy name on it. X Defiant is what it was called. It was originally called Tom Clancy's X Defiant. And, this game looks fucking like an MDMA unicorn threw up on a battlefield.
I'm sure Tom Clancy's agent caught like a screenshot of this game and was like, Tom, you got it.
Tom's dead.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
So
then he went and talked to his grave.
Tom's dusty bones are rolling over at 200 miles an hour in his fucking grave. Like
I didn't know Tom Clancy was dead.
Like on the spin cycle in a fucking dryer, his bones are underground, just flopping over.
Yeah, I mean, so I wasn't surprised to see them pull the plug on Frontline. Not even a little bit.
Well, here's the thing, and I'm sorry, I really went in a long path to get here. So
it's fine.
I'm back to the point. So there was a game series called Frontline. Remember, Frontline fuels a war. So the Frontline name in and of itself has meaning, but the meaning of Frontline is a big sloppy battle. That's what that game series always was. I think the only reason why there was negative anything with this game was because it said Ghost Recon in the front. And it's the same thing with this X Defiant game. I think the only reason why that game got slogged is because you have MDMA unicorn vomit characters with Tom Clancy's name in front. And they've even gone back now and taken Tom Clancy out of that title. So they need you as a consultant, Johnny, to go in and tell them to just stop fucking with these game franchises that have nothing to do with what they're working on. It's like they're so afraid to create a new IP that they think they have to recycle these names.
You're Ubisoft. You make a whole lot of good games.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, look, here's the really unfortunate thing, right? Is like, if we were having this conversation 5 years ago, we'd be like, what about BioWare? What about and a lot of these companies have fallen so hard that this is Ubisoft's chance to stop retreading shit. And that's why I'm excited about Skull and Bones. And that's why I'm actually excited. I normally don't get excited about games as a service. I'm excited about the Assassin's Creed games as a service. I want to see what they bring.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be something really interesting and cool and fun. So anyway, I wasn't surprised to see Frontline pulled. The VR game, I was a little surprised by because it was tied to Meta. And you would think that Facebook has more money than God and that they would want this on their service, on the Quest, Oculus, whatever. But they pulled the plug. And then what are these two mystery games?
Who knows?
Because there's a few franchises we haven't seen in a little while.
Yeah, but
Have we heard anything about a Tomb Raider game?
no.
I mean, anything about a Tomb Raider game? So, did they pull the plug on a Tomb Raider game? I don't know. This to me, this little bit of the news, I think they pulled a Rockstar here. I think they pulled the plug
Tomb Raider
on a bunch of.
Sorry. I just want to clarify something real quick before you run with the Tomb Raider thing. You'll recall that they were owned by Square Enix, and then Embracer bought Tomb Raider, so that has nothing to do with Ubisoft.
Oh shit! Yeah, I'm thinking old ass Tomb Raider.
Which was IDOS, not Ubisoft.
Oh, you're right. Jesus, I'm way off.
It's okay. I just want to.
Sorry, Ubisoft, make a fucking Tomb Raider game, you clowns.
Yeah, get your brain suit out for it.
But no,
ahead,
I mean,
sorry.
so the main thing I think that they pulled a Rockstar here. I think they pulled the development teams on these other games that they thought were going to be pretty lackluster in performance, and I think they're powering through to get something else done. I think that something else is probably this big Assassin's Creed thing.
Yes.
Because remember, they made the announcement Assassin's Creed Infinity or whatever they called it. I think we're looking at we just had a console war. I think we're going to see a games as a service war between Rockstar and Ubisoft. I think Ubisoft is going to have Skull and Bones in their back pocket, while Rockstar basically pulls the plug on Red Dead Online, and then Ubisoft's going to come out with Assassin's Creed, and then Rockstar is going to come out with GTA 6. I think that they're going hard on the Assassin's Creed thing, which is fine. It's their biggest franchise. Why wouldn't you? But no, I definitely agree with your previous statements. Is that we're passionate about the Tom Clancy stuff because of what they are and what they're supposed to be. You can't just go, well, battle royales are big now. Let's just make a battle royale thing and we'll put Tom Clancy's name on it.
Well, like
we'll sell millions of copies.
The new Rainbow Six thing hardly has anything to do with Rainbow Six.
No,
Extraction or whatever it's called.
And I'll be completely honest. If that game was announced as a new IP, didn't say Rainbow Six, I would be more excited about it.
Yeah.
It's the fact that I was like, Rainbow Six? The fuck does this have to do with Rainbow Six? And I'm sure that's 70% of the people that saw that trailer went, how is this Rainbow Six?
They have
there's like an alien.
They have a name
thing.
Recycling problem, and it's fucking them up.
They really do, and they need to just.
I mean, even The Division is a stretch to have Tom Clancy's association.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
it has nothing to do with Tom Clancy.
No,
his dusty bones are just rolling over in his grave as his name getting slapped on random shit. But,
no, I mean, I think these are two games that were probably. I think Frontline was probably dead on arrival, and I think the VR thing maybe wasn't working out the way they thought it would, and they went, we need to get everybody on this project over here.
Well, they have what is it? Division's Heartland or Heartline or whatever it is, the free to play Division game coming up,
right?
Which I'm sure Massive is involved in some way. They have some other games in development, like they have another Rabbids game coming out.
Oh boy!
Hey, don't sleep on that. That was a big success on the Switch.
I know they make money.
And you would love them, Mr. XCOM. So
what are you talking about? I love those games.
Yeah,
those games are good.
See, yeah. So Ubisoft does have some stuff left on the calendar for this year. Skull and Bones, of course, I think is the big to do that's left.
Yeah.
So, lots to think about with them, lots to watch. I guess particularly as we move out of summer into fall, which we're saying that now because the end of July, ladies and gentlemen, we're almost there.
Yeah.
So anyway, I digress. Ubi going soft. Johnny, that of course brings us to the final segment. Man, that thing went off right away. It's like that segment is, of course, called, and yeah, it got me. So One Up is ready to go.
Fuck yeah, it is.
Jesus Christ. So one up. I'll get it started this week. I was on Facebook, and Facebook, of course, is an advertising machine, and it knows what Mike Dawson likes. So it shows me ads of, as I was complaining about PC parts, it's showing me PC parts deals. As I'm talking about being hungry around lunchtime, it's showing me sandwiches and snacks. And one of our regional favorites popped up into my feed. Good old Wawa wanted to sell me some subs for Hoagie Fest, which got me excited in reading their advertisement. And I was a bit shocked at what they were peddling. So, Johnny, did you know that with your Wawa Hoagie Fest hoagie, that you can get a Hoagie Fest NFT? What sounds more appealing with your sandwich than to get a stupid-looking cartoon person holding a sandwich that has some unassignable value to it, mined out of the blockchain? Wawa Hoagie Fest NFTs, sir.
It's about time, frankly. I mean, I'm ready for a Hoagie NFT right now. So I'm. Why wouldn't you want that? I'll take 10. Thanks.
So I left a comment on Wawa's page.
Yes, you did.
That has gotten a lot of attention from a lot of different people. I said, "Hey Wawa, I'd like to offer my consulting services for the low price of $100,000. I could have told you this was a bad idea, because as you look at the comments below, it's everyone going, fuck that. This is fucking stupid. You guys are fucking scamming people. This and that." NFTs they're not getting the love right now. There's a lot.
No.
Non-fungible tokens. That means we've already had a big discussion about cryptocurrency on the show. We should all be experts on it by now, and understanding what this shit is. But yes, so a piece of a computer program that something solved, wasting power and energy, assigned to a cartoon drawing of an ape on acid, replacing a dollar bill in some facet. Great. This sounds like the solution that the American people fucking needed.
See, but you're forgetting the most important part of your comment. You said, thanks, I'll go to Sheets instead. Now, for listeners that are not familiar, okay, in our area, there is a very popular convenience store chain called Wawa. They have delicious subs and every kind of snack and soda and energy drink you can think of.
Quesadillas.
Their subs are great. Yeah. Quesadillas, all kinds of good stuff.
They have the hot dog box.
For me, when I was taking a lunch break at work and I had no idea what I was in the mood for, I would just go to Wawa, because Wawa has kind of everything.
They're wonderful, yeah.
They have a lot of stuff. Sheets is another chain similar to this that is not so much in our area, a little bit out of our area, not far. You go like just tiptoe into Pennsylvania, they're everywhere. So Mike going in and putting that comment on the Wawa Facebook that I'll go to Sheets instead is like somebody going to a Ford post on Facebook and being like, fuck Ford, I like Chevy. That's what Mike did. He went and he just threw a match on the gasoline and just let it burn.
I did.
And I appreciate you for it. They deserved it. It's stupid. They don't need NFTs.
If you want to go purchase an NFT on an NFT marketplace, God bless you, and you should be allowed to do it. Okay? Let's get that one clear. But when I buy a sandwich, the only thing I want for free is a motherfucking napkin. That's it. Give me a napkin. Okay? Maybe some condiments. How about some ketchup? But my ketchup doesn't need to be turned into my retirement portfolio. Okay? Just give me the sandwich and let's call it a day. I don't need to remember that sandwich for the rest of my fucking life. And you certainly don't need to be burning useless energy and time into mining shit to give away with a sandwich. Just give me a fucking napkin. Or here's a better idea. Make a sticker that says, I eat it.
I mean,
it's like I voted, but sandwiches.
Almost anything physical would be better.
Bobblehead.
Give me a fucking pin. I'd be like, fuck yeah, I'll take a Wawa hoagie pin. I'm in.
They could be handing out Hoagie Fest dildos, and I'd be more interested than the NFT. You know, a big old wag in the shape of a sandwich. Chamon. Hoagie Fest.
Get that on the live stream, fails. Look at this guy. He's got his hoagie dick showing in the background.
Oh man! So Wawa NFTs,
yeah, get on that.
Not so festive. That's my one up for this week. Johnny, what is yours?
Mine is the new Dungeons and Dragons movie. I knew that this was happening. I'd heard about it, I guess, about a year ago, and I'd heard that Chris Pine was starring in it. I like Chris Pine. I heard that Michelle Rodriguez was in it. I like Michelle Rodriguez. I heard that Hugh Grant was in it. I also like Hugh Grant. Like this cast is looking pretty good. Hopefully they don't screw this up. But in my head, I'm thinking that this Dungeons and Dragons movie is probably going to be Warcraft 2.0, where it like takes itself a little too seriously, thinks it has a little bit more gravitas than it probably does. The trailer came out at San Diego Comic-Con, and I'm really surprised. This movie looks super fun. I went from mildly interested in a Dungeons and Dragons movie to like, yeah, I'll be there opening weekend. I got to see this movie. It looks amazing. You know, honestly, they sold me at Chris Pine is the bard and Michelle Rodriguez is the barbarian. I'm like, yes, oh my God, perfect. Like, take my money. I'm in. And then I was like, all right, because this is always the question, especially with these new franchises, who's directing it? Because a lot of times this drives me absolutely nuts. When you look up some new IP, new franchise, they're doing this movie, and you pull up, you're like, all right, well, who directed it? And you're like, this guy's done nothing but crappy movies. All right, well, who wrote it? This guy's done nothing but write crappy movies. Why do these people keep getting jobs? That is not the case on this one. It's directed by the writer of Spider-Man Homecoming, which I think is a great film, and I think it's beautifully written. So I'm sure he had something to do with the writing of this film as well. But my biggest takeaway from this trailer is that this movie could not have happened and would not be what it is if it wasn't for Guardians of the Galaxy. This has a total Guardians of the Galaxy vibe, which I think it should. I mean, that's what Dungeons and Dragons kind of is. Like, yes, it's the good versus evil, and there's the monsters and the dragons, and there's the warriors who fight them. And yes, that's there. But a part of the fun of Dungeons and Dragons is the fun. The people in that story should be joking and bickering with one another and jabbing at each other and insulting each other and drinking together. And it looks like all of that is in this movie. It looks super fun, and I cannot wait. I went from a 2 to an 8 on this movie. I'm really pumped.
It's Dungeons and Dragons in name and influence, but yeah, no, it's more. It's using the name as a vessel, I think, in a good way. So
well, and it is using some of the things in the universe that we dig, right? Yeah. I mean, like in the trailer, they show an owl bear. Owl bears are fucking dope. And if you don't know what an owl bear is, just Google it. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a gigantic bear that looks like an owl. It has an owl face. It's covered in feathers. It's in the trailer. An owl bear. And it doesn't look cheap either. It looks like a $200 million owl bear.
That's right. So
I'm pumped. I think the movie looks great, which I did not have, hey, the Dungeons and Dragons movie isn't going to suck on my bingo card. I did not have that.
And yet here we are talking about it at the end of episode 76. That's about as best a segue as I can provide. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps it up for this week. So we hope you enjoyed the show. Again, if you're watching us on YouTube, please do your goddamn job. Okay. Do your job. Hit the like button.
I don't know where it is, but I'm pointing at it.
Hit the like button, get it, and subscribe. And if you don't like us, still do that. But then just leave us horrendously lewd comments in the comment section.
That works too.
You can do that. And also,
I'll probably respond.
Johnny absolutely will respond. So
I will probably respond.
We will, of course, be back again next week with another great episode of the Power Gamer Podcast for you to enjoy. Until then, I am Mike Dawson.
And I'm Johnny Paulus.
Tune in next time. Take care.
Catch you on the flip-flop.